Well, let's talk to Isabel Hilton, the founder of China Dialogue. Isabel, welcome back. Good to see you. Germany's leader really is walking a fine line, isn't he? Trying to promote German business interests while delivering warnings from Europe about trade and geopolitical tensions.
Absolutely. He's caught. I mean, you have one of the most important members of the European Union and a much tougher line coming out of Brussels, traveling to China with a big business delegation. And Germany's had the most successful business relationship with China, but also it's reached a point where it's not as good as it was, where the big companies are losing market share and facing increased competition from China and third markets. So although it has been a very robust relationship, and certainly German business is nervous about confrontation for fear of offending China, nevertheless, there are issues to resolve in this relationship.
Well, you say the relationship wasn't as good as it was. How do you fix it? I mean, Europe is obviously concerned that it's becoming what it sees as a dumping ground for Chinese goods produced at a loss. I mean, is there a middle ground on this or any room to negotiate?
Well, at the moment, the noises are not particularly encouraging because, it is pretty well documented the degree to which Chinese companies receive subsidies, both from central government but also from provincial government at almost every stage of their development. And that has resulted in Chinese goods undercutting Western competition and in some cases, eliminating that competition. So we've seen that in repeated cycles, for example, with 5G. As one notorious case, with solar panels, another notorious case. And the industries that China is now betting on, so solar panels, batteries and electric vehicles, are really quite threatening from a European perspective and also from a German perspective, because one of the industries that's done best in China over the years has been the German car industry. And one of the reasons that is no longer true is it's cyclical. The electric vehicle, the connected vehicle is the future. And German excellence in the internal combustion engine is increasingly the past. So, there is a point at which Germany will, in any case, is already, in any case, losing market share. So the next question is, what's the next phase for German industry? And at that point, the question of being undercut by Chinese vehicles becomes acute for Germany as well as for the rest of Europe. So at the moment, the dialogue doesn't seem very fruitful in that the Chinese side is saying this is just protectionism. There is no truth to these claims of subsidy. And Europe is saying, well, actually, we have pretty good evidence about the subsidy. And if we're going to continue to trade in a kind of win-win scenario, it has to be fairer. So that's where we are. I think that Scholz was hoping this visit would move things along, and we'll see. It'll depend on the results in the end.
This is the German leader's first visit to China since his government adopted that strategy last year that defines China as a partner, a competitor, and a systemic rival, calling on Germany to reduce its dependence on Chinese goods. I mean, presumably, if this relationship in its current state continues, potentially for both sides, it's not a win-win, it's a lose-lose, isn't it?
It could be a lose-lose, yes. I mean, I think that, again, both sides have benefited enormously from this relationship, and it would be quite helpful if they could resolve this current crisis. But what seems to be ahead of us, in the immediate future at least, are increasing trade barriers erected against Chinese goods by the United States, you see, but also in Europe. And it's about protecting domestic economies from competition that they see as unfair. And, I think that it's incumbent on both sides to have perhaps a more productive dialogue about this, or we will get into a pretty sterile confrontation, and that won't do anyone any good.
Isabel, good to see you. Thanks for coming on the programme again. Isabel Hilton, the founder of China Dialogue.